All right, check, check. Hello, hello. All right, we're working. All right, sorry for the atrocious music. I'm trying to find a playlist that's non-copyright, that's at least decent to use on these live streams, just to make sure we get a little bit more algorithmic push. Not my favorite song. It was a little bit weak. Let's go ahead and switch over to the live stream. Start saying hi. How you doing? What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Still in the election. I thought we would have a winner by now. It does look at the moment like Joe Biden's going to win. So take that what you want from that. I really don't care who wins either way. What I care about is what's going to happen to crypto. My money. And I'll be honest, with Joe Biden kind of mentioning that he's going to look towards shutdowns if he wins to prevent this second wave. I think we might have another situation where we could have a massive dump. And with the ascending wedge already there, we have the pattern built for it. Now, let's talk about the smaller time frames. I know there's a lot of ants right now when it comes to us getting above the local range. And I am here to remind you that has happened 2 times over the past couple of months. We can see continuously tap, tap above the range, tap, tap above the range, and then shortly comes back down after. So I think right now it's a little bit too early for me to say that it's going to do one or the other. Me personally, despite my FOMO intensifies, I'm not going for a long here. The reason why is I just don't think it's beneficial to my account personally. There's just too much track record of it doing the same exact thing and then dumping down. So right now I'm kind of just holding steady to see if we do come back down in the range. If we do, I'll go ahead and take another short. Now, unfortunately, we have been wicked out twice here, and that kind of sucks. I am sticking to a 1% risk, so it's nothing much to my account to kind of take these back-to-back hits. And we're just looking for 1 or 2 good wins to balance that out and put us in a nice profit. And we're already sitting in a nice profit from these last couple of ranges, and the fact that we've pumped up hundreds of percents on multiple coins over the past couple of months. So I'm really not, too crazy right now. I have been seeing a lot of people go back and forth. Is it time to long? Do we re-enter short from the top? My personal opinion is you don't enter short from here because you're above the range. And my opinion is that we have a good chance of dumping back down into the range. So I'm kind of just on standby until we have one or the other. Now, if we do happen to break this range and it just continues on upwards, what would be the next place we logically stop? I have this little red box area marked out here, and that's going to be anywhere from about 16,000 flat. It's a good psychological resistance, and it's a reality resistance. As well as that, we could obviously go all the way up to 17,000, 16.8, 17,000, kind of in between that range if we do want to do that. Do I think we're going to? I don't think so, but we'll see how this goes. Like I said, with Biden looking like he's going to win the election, I'm sure there's going to be recounts. I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff going on. I just don't think the markets are ready to make a decision like that to pump all the way up. Obviously, this is just personal belief. And as well as that, if Biden does win the election, I don't think that will be good initially for Bitcoin. Obviously, we like to look at Bitcoin as a detached currency and it's not affected by any governments. But when it comes to money inflow, if there is another government shutdown, not even government shutdown, nationwide shutdown when it comes to, small businesses or anything like that, preventing people to go out and spend their money, or, people losing work for a little bit, there's not going to be that retail influx that we need to kind of continue this bull market. But that's all I got to say about Bitcoin pretty much. When it comes to divergences, we're still sitting pretty. When it comes to the daily bearish divergence, nothing's really changed on that. There's no significant downswing retest for me to say that we could get a significant bounce here. So let's go ahead and bring up the RSI real quick so I can show you that. Because I saw somebody on my Telegram talking about how we could be turning this bearish divergence into bullish convergence here. But I just don't think that small of a bounce can signify that, especially when we're already in the overbought territory. Now, back here, we were kind of just, on the edge of it. So I could let that pass. We're closer to the 50. So it makes sense that the smaller time frames could make up for that dip right there. But when it comes to us already in the overbought territory, we already have a nice little swing down, and we do have a bearish divergence. It just doesn't make sense in my head, at least, for us to see large continuation here. Could we see a nice spike up? We already kind of did with 14,250 ish. I think it might have gone up to 14,270 ish if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah, just about. So with that being said, that's kind of my opinion on that. I'm just on standby. It's too small of a range for me to make that massive decision. I've taken my profits from the previous breakout, so for me, there's no real reason to get antsy here. Let's go and start saying hi here. Chainsaw, we're going short here. Like I said, until we're back in the range, the smaller range here of about 13,900 all the way back down to 13,150. To me, I can't make that decision quite yet. Hey, from down under, down under. What's going on, Crazy Kangaroo? What's going on, man? John, hey Kite, how you doing, bud? Absolutely fantastic. Just had some Outback, so shouts out to you, Crazy Kangaroo. Had a nice dinner. Let's see, Kite, what's up, my dude? Absolutely everything, man. I stay up until like 5 a.m. last night trying to see who wins the election, but they just want to call these states, which understandably, because when I was looking at it, I think Pennsylvania only had like 65% reporting. Michigan. Oh, they called Michigan in like the past couple minutes. Oh, is it 264? If he takes Nevada, which it seems likely, because I don't know if Nevada is one of the states that's counting votes after the on-day polls when it comes to mail-in voting. I just don't see why they haven't called North Carolina or Georgia yet. I mean, we're sitting at 96 and 94%. I mean, that's a good spread right there, about 1.5, 2%. Pennsylvania's up for grabs, though. I think that's too far of a spread to say that doesn't go to Trump, but we'll see what the mail-in voting says. But either way, even if he takes Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, I'm pretty sure he only comes out to like 268, and then he'll pretty much be on the money when it comes to 270. Because he's 6 votes away, 270 right there. So, it was a fun night. I had fun with my friends, and we kind of just chilled out. They drank, I don't drink, and we kind of just watched the election. We watched the Joe Rogan's podcast, and we watched Steven Crowder, just all night. So, yeah, man, that was closer than I thought it was going to be honest. But I mean, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see a complete landslide. You want to see a tight race. So, the elevator music is fine. Not for me. Not for me personally. Sick haircut. Yeah, we're going back to the short hair. I'll grow it out again eventually. I think at some point in the future, maybe around like 25, 27 years old, I think I might have to make the decision. Am I going to keep short hair, or am I going to try to grow it out one last time before I lose my hairline? That way I can at least have the appearance of having hair. That ETH pump. Let's go check out ETH. Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. I did not personally see it pump, but we'll see what it's sitting at now. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like I said, I mean, we were looking at this as a potential inverse head and shoulders, so it makes a whole lot of sense that you would find some support here. So, I mean, if that does continue, I'd probably be looking for around. You could take a short around 420, but more likely we might see a little bit of a rise here, just because this one kind of had 3 levels to it. So I have no doubt that this one might try to have 3 levels to it as well before we have any sort of significant breakout on the higher time frames. Let's see. What made ETH pump today other than money flow? We just looked at it. Simple pattern. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into trading besides just patterns and lines. But when you really just look at it as patterns and lines, a lot of it just makes sense. We can always look at open interest and money flow. I have looked at those in the past, and I've obviously used stuff like Bookmap and had various successes with it. It was pretty good for scalping, but me transferring over to a little bit larger swing trades and range trading didn't really make sense to me, because obviously you're gonna respect the supports and resistances anyways. Are we bullish now? Like I said, me personally, I'm not leaning that way, especially with way the presidency went. Like I said, I'm not on either side. Obviously, I'm looking for one candidate or the other, but I don't think it's going to affect my daily life besides what we see on Bitcoin. And if anything, if we do dump down on Bitcoin and get stuck in a whole bunch of other ranges, that's just more money to be made. So, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing at the end of the day, just at the start of the day where people aren't prepared for it. But like I said, if we do continue to stick above this range, there is a small chance that we do continue to proceed up to the $16,000 range. There is a little bit of resistance, if I remember, around, was it the 6 hour? Was it the daily? Maybe a little bit of resistance around 14,460 to 14,600. That was a little bit of a dip back here when we were shooting all the way up to 19,000. But it's not significant of a bounce. I mean, obviously it's a significant bounce, but it wasn't that crazy of a retest for me to say that that's a strong resistance, but it is there nonetheless. So that could be what we kind of get a tap off of and head back into the $13,900 range. Like I pointed out, I mean, that's just been the case all over the world, not all over the world, but in these past two ranges. I mean, we come up, we get rejected, we come up, we get rejected, and then we bump up above the range. We get a whole lot of FOMO, and then you could either be a whale manipulation dump like it was here, because obviously Bart's like that. I mean, you can't just deny that. People that blame everything on whale manipulation, that's just not smart. When whale manipulation happens, it happens in these very, very small, acute areas that have a larger effect than you might think. Because this one simple rise above this built up a bearish divergence. And since we held bullish convergence, it gave us the momentum of a macro head and shoulders, even though it's such a small amount. It just has to do with how people move their buy walls and sell walls to enable stuff to happen like that. Same thing happened over here. All right, resistance, get above the range, come back below. This one happened to be, actually complete its head and shoulders pattern, but then we came back down. And we actually were looking for a more significant target on this. We were looking for, pretty much the length of this arm. So we were looking to come back down to 9,037, but we came about halfway back down to the previous resistance, found new support, and then held bullish convergence, forcing a breakout with the same strength and whatever was left over from the previous pattern. So stuff like that needs to happen if you want to see a little tiny move turn into a massive move. So that's why I said right now I'm kind of just in flux. I'm not jumping the gun, I'm not longing, and I'm also not shorting right now. I got wicked out. So I have to wait to see if we come back into the range and then hopefully get a nice short, maybe another retest to the upside, get a short from there, carry it all the way down. That'd be two good trades out of the two losses. I'm trading in 1% increments. If we can get about 3 to 4 risk reward ratio on that, that would come out to about 8%. And then not including the breakout trade could be, somewhere around 10%. Walk away with 18% from the range, and only lost 2%. Yo, what's poppin', Kite, my man? It's been a while. Hey, what's up, GTA? How you doing, man? What's going on? Andrew, hey, how you doing? Crypto Kev, what's going on, man? Yo. That 14.2 is no joke right now. Yeah, it's been tapping off it. I mean, if anything, we're looking at this as a potential breakout, but like I said, with the past two ranges over here doing the same exact thing, I can't really expect it not to. Obviously, I could, be biting my words in a couple days, and we could be all the way up to 16,000, and I missed the lunge. But nonetheless, I mean, I only lost 2% of my portfolio on those wicks out. And if we jump up, I mean, that's just 14% cash added to my portfolio. So I'm not mad. And then we can always get a short off of there if we do happen to see a double top and take it back down. Hopefully, if anything, if that does happen, I hope it gives us a little bit bigger of a range to work with, because obviously right now, if this is the range we have to work with the way the wicks are going, I have to have a little bit larger stop losses. So we're looking at 3 to 4 restored ratios, when back here we were looking at 5, 6, 7 restored ratios back and forth. So it's a much smaller of a range. So it's not even that good to trade anyways. But if there is a couple trades, we'll try to take them. News about ETH 2.0 today because BTC and ETH to pump. I did not hear about that. I've been off the grid today. I woke up around like 2:30 and kind of just laid in bed for a little bit, try to see if anything new came up in the election. So I just kind of taking a lazy day off. My wife and I are in need of some fish right now. He'll be on at the end of the stream. If the period settings on RSI is for 14 days, for example, when we look for divergence on the charts, does the divergence become invalid when it spreads further than period settings? It becomes invalid when you get past exaggerated bullish divergence, if that's what you mean. So if we were to go ahead and get all the way past 91, if we got a direct tap off of 91, that would be exaggerated bearish divergence. But if we went past it, that would invalidate it. For me personally, obviously at that point you would want to go back and look at some of the larger bearish divergences that might be in play. Obviously we still have a 4-day bearish divergence off of this one, but that kind of got carried over. You can see how this works. All right, so right here we had a pretty significant bearish divergence. All right, because we have if you want to look at it from the 4-day perspective, we have the same high relatively, and then we got forced down. Obviously that collected support, and then we entered into bullish convergence, sending that massively upwards. So we still have that same situation, but this one kind of seems a little bit more rare because you could get a double top off of this previous one, adding to the bearish divergence that not only this one holds as well. We're just waiting to see what happens. If you're looking at the 4-day, we actually seem to have, our support and resistance in the correct place. And the 4-day averages is kind of lining up around that point. And we can see that kind of collects support around here, around 14,000 on the averages. Let's see. Talk of alts going to get hammered as if Bitcoin pumps, they go only a little. Bitcoin goes down, they go a lot further. Any thoughts? Obviously, Bitcoin dominance has a lot to do with that, but I don't think Bitcoin dominance is actually that high at the moment. What's the ticker for? I thought it was Dom, BTC Dom. Anybody know the ticker? I forgot it at the moment. I used to look at it quite frequently, but it just hasn't been as effective in the past couple of weeks. Hey, Kite, good to see you, man. I got a few questions for you. Do you ever draw supports and resistances on the weekly / monthly? If not, why? Also, out of curiosity, is trading crypto your main source of income? Yes, trading crypto is my main source of income. It has been for the past 2.5 years. Now, I haven't been trading the full past 2.5 years, but I've been in crypto since I was about 14. I've been looking at crypto ever since I was like 11. First time I ever heard of it, I heard my granddad screaming at the TV about some fake currency, and I came outside and I was like, whoa, that looks pretty cool. The way that I've kind of got my granddad on board with it, I was trying to explain to him, because he's a very biblical man. He has his master's, or actually he has a PhD in theology or whatever it is. I was like, okay, think about this. All right, if you were to have a one world currency in a digital age, what would that be? Bitcoin. What does the Bible talk about? It talks about a one world currency. So that's how I kind of got him on board with the idea that crypto is not going to be a loser. Now he's even back when I was like 13 years old, and look at it today. I mean, he really doesn't talk a whole lot of shit on Bitcoin anymore. But when it comes to drawing supports and resistances off the daily, you said weekly and monthly. I typically don't look at the weekly and monthly. It just doesn't work for me. If you were a macro trader, that could be something that you look at. But more importantly, the reason why I don't is because I use averages. I find averages to be a lot more consistent when it comes to trading ranges, which happens to be on like the 2-hour time frame to 4-hour time frame is what I typically stand by. But when it comes to weekly, the averages are going to be so skewed that it really doesn't make sense, because if you looked at this from a weekly average standpoint, we should have seen a pump all the way back here in August, whereas it took us much, much longer, because the weekly averages were at about 11,500, and then we got to an average of 11,800 138 back here in August. So that's why I don't typically do it. It just doesn't work for me. The highest I typically go is about the 6 hour to daily. Those are the two I kind of go back and forth. We're looking for macro supports and resistances when it comes to, especially the ranges that we haven't been to in a very long time, ever since back here in late 2017. Hopefully that explained it well. Because for me, it's as simple as this. If you're looking at the averages on the daily, you really can't do this. But if you're looking at the averages on the 2 hour, when you get stuck in simple ranges such as this, you say, oh, okay, this is our first rejection. This is our first bounce. And then you go ahead and trade between it. You simply take a long here off the double bottom, short here, long here. And I know it doesn't look right, but what I tell my students in our sessions is when you go down for that second bottom or second top retest, always expect either a lower high or a higher low. You never know if it's going to be exact on the line. So like right here, you would have aimed for like 11,200, and then you would have gotten it filled on the wicks. You just do that back and forth, back and forth. So inside of this entire pattern, you would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winners, and then you would have had 2 losers. You would have had a failed breakout failed short here, and then a failed breakout trade here. And then you simply would have got stopped out on the way back in. Now that you're back in the range, you retake a short. So it's as simple as that. And with this being around 5 to 6, 7 risk-reward ratios back and forth, you can see how that adds up quite quickly. And if you're losing, if you're using 2% risk on these, you would have lost 4% comparative to the, 50+% that you would have made in Bitcoin to your portfolio off of these couple of trades, and then not including the breakout. So that's why I use averages and why I don't use them on the higher time frames. So that's kind of the same method that we're going for when we're looking at this range up here, and that's why I'm not being too forward thinking when we're above the range here. Obviously, if we're playing by the exact rule set, I have to enter a long trade here. But with these two previous ranges doing the same exact thing, retest above range, break the range, break back into the range, and then retest, and then come down. Fish, no bark. I just have to assume that's going to do the same thing here. Daily RSI is high. Surely a dump is incoming. Probably. Most likely. That's what I'm looking for. And for anybody that is tuning in and is curious why I think that we might actually see a dump here, it simply comes down to the fact that, if you want to look at this from a bullish standpoint, you can as well. So I'm looking at the daily perspective here. From the daily perspective, we would connect the last 3 local highs. We have a diagonal here, and then I'm connecting these lows here. So we're looking at a potential ascending wedge. Now, you will say that we are above the resistance of the ascending wedge, and that is a completely bullish thing, and it is momentarily. But what I believe is going to happen is off of these couple of resistances and supports here, we're going to get pinched. And I think this is an excellent way to trap people in longs because if this does continue to shape up the way it is, over time, this will start to actually look like an ascending triangle, which is an inherently bullish pattern. So I think just the mainstream trader will actually enter longs on that, but then we'll eventually dump back down. Even, kind of just crash here, stay in the same range just to make sure that people don't catch on. And kind of go back and forth, maybe have a little bit of a bump up here, but then finally get rejected. After that, depending on where we go, if it is kind of around the same time that, Joe Biden takes power and forces a economic shutdown when it comes to businesses for this corona second wave, some of my speculation will be that we hit the $11,100 mark on that retest, hopefully to form some sort of inverse head and shoulders off of these previous 2 ranges. But if anything, I'm looking for 10,000 to hold. Primarily the reason why I think 10,000 should hold, and it better if you want to stay bullish on Bitcoin, is simply due to previous price action. So Bitcoin typically works out in these Adam and Eve patterns, Adam, Eve, horizontal, breakout. And I've done this so many times, but I love highlighting this for anybody that hasn't seen it. Adam, Eve, twin sister, horizontal, breakout. Adam, Eve, horizontal, breakout. Adam, Eve, horizontal, breakout, and then even all the way back here. So I think you can see the significance of an Adam and Eve breakout and then holding that horizontal. Now, the good thing is that we've actually already gone back to hold the horizontal. And when we went back down here and retested the $10,000 mark and got a very, very significant bounce already. I mean, it's been pretty much a straight shot up from that 10,000 region. So that's a good sign to me, but doesn't mean that we can't go back down to retest it. So if you don't see the Adam and Eve, it's simply like this: Eve, Adam, horizontal, breakout, and hopefully launch off. All right, so that's where I'm kind of getting this ideology that if anything, $10,000 would be the resistance, support resistance to hold. It would be an excellent, test to the upside, and then a double bottom, and then hopefully that would help propel us forward in the future after everything is said and done. Okay, thank you for the ticker. Let's go and look at that. Oh, that's why. Symbol not found in cryptocurrency. Okay, that's why I wasn't seeing it. So we were tracking this a long time ago. That's from many, many months ago where I drew that. We were looking at this as a either ascending wedge or bear flag, and we broke to the downside, and we're starting to bottom out. We're starting to go ahead, and we might actually see a little bit of resistance coming up just from this little flip-flop region. We can see support turn into resistance. So that's at the 64% level. So we'll see if that continues. Now, obviously, you can do a little bit of technical analysis on BTC dominance. Has worked out in the past, especially when it comes to capitulation, double bottoms, all that good stuff. But we'll see if that continues to hold true. If anything, the next flip-flop region is going to be around the 67% mark. So if we do see it kind of get rejected here and then go back for a double bottom, we could see a lot of these other altcoins pump up. You said that's definitely not a 4-day divergence. It's too long, and even went to oversold RSI area during the divergence. I don't think it going into the oversold territory, makes it so that it's not a divergence. Divergence is simply, if you have a lower high and then a higher high on price action, that's what classifies a standard bearish divergence. So, I mean, we can go back and look at the 4-day. Like I said, if anything, if it is not this divergence here, if we do not get above, we're kind of already above it, but we'll see how the next 4 days turns out. That could turn into a double top, exaggerated bearish divergence. And we didn't quite go into we went into the oversold territory here, but we didn't go into the oversold territory here. And that is most definitely a bearish divergence. Bearish divergence transfers into bullish convergence, exaggerated bullish divergence here, and then amplified momentum goes to the upside. The way that I like to explain it is if you have a bearish divergence and you don't go to the place that you think you're going to go to, it's not because whatever reason, it's because you have this momentum. It's like throwing a tennis ball at a window, or I don't think a tennis ball could break a window, but let's say you throw a ball at a window and you put 100% of the energy into the ball. That's the bearish divergence. And then the ball bounces off the window. 25% of the energy gets put into the window, and then the other 75% bounces back. That's what we saw here with that bearish divergence. So hopefully that explains a little bit better. Obviously, if you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. But I do think that's a bearish divergence. Let's see. Mike Evans, not using Market Cipher. No, my subscription ran out, and I just don't think it's a good investment anymore for me personally. Obviously, for other people, it can be. I stand by price action trading, simple support and resistance. And then when you want to look at indicators to find a better solution or to see how far something can go, that's when they should be used. But besides that, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever to use indicators, especially in the last couple of ranges we've been in. It's been so damn easy to play these ranges. It's simple, back and forth, back and forth. Yep, looks so similar to the last Head and Shoulders range. That's what I'm saying, man. That's why I'm just being extra careful. Reese, Kite smells. Thank you, Reese. I appreciate it, man. Hopefully I smell good. Link, we can check out Link. Let me go switch over to my other chart here so I don't mess up my Bitcoin. Let's see. don't know what that is. All right. Let's see. Solid support that we just broke through the past couple of days since September 11th. Let's highlight that. If anything, we'll go back down and retest that. This is the daily here. Let me go to a 4-day. This has been on. This is not the link I should be looking at, is it? No, it's not. Sorry. My bad. My bad. All right, let's go and look at this again. All right. So we had some stuff marked out. Let's go to the 6 hour. So I think we talked about this specific support here, how that got a double bottom. That is significant. Now we are getting rejected up here at about $12.83. You can see previous rejection here. It is kind of a flip-flop region as well. I'm sure some of the wicks got up to that region. Yeah, just about. So particularly, you're looking for the $8.58 region to hold. I really can't tell you if it will or won't. I think we did talk about the potential of if we did get back under the $8.54 region, there could be a smaller little chance for a head and shoulders pattern here. Besides that, I mean, those are your two supports and resistances that you're looking to trade between if you are trading it. And then obviously once you get past that, you're looking to go retest 19.5 cents. Just a thought. What if the 2017 high to the 2018 low is the Adam and Eve? Yeah, I did talk about that at one point. It is an interesting idea, and it does kind of seem to work out. Maybe in a couple years, it will look completely different than what we see on our charts currently. So let's go ahead and go back to BTC and talk about what you're talking about. So I do see it. I do see it. This is what he's talking about. He's talking about whether or not there is a potential. Let's imagine that we're a couple years in the future and we get up to these higher price points for whatever reason. And we go back and we look at this as if it was like this. Okay. He's talking about what if this is your Adam and this is your Eve. Okay. And then that would pretty much say, all right, that would be your horizontal. So that is a potential as well. Definitely. Now, you can see this two ways. You could either see, this local high as your horizontal, or this is your horizontal, whichever way you want to see it. But typically on the Adam and Eves, we kind of look at it as if it's a straight horizontal off the peak of the Adam and Eve, which would pretty much say that as well. Marco, hey Kite, how's life going? Absolutely fantastic, man. Glad to be back streaming. We've been consistent for a good couple weeks now, and hopefully it stays that way. Like I said, I haven't made any promises yet. We talked about it on Monday's live stream. If we do get a consistent amount of viewers and I'm feeling good, we'll probably add Tuesday and Thursday to our streaming list as well, maybe with an earlier time schedule for people in Oceanic and Europe. Hi, how is your dog? I love that. I love that so much. But thank you for asking about Fish. He's doing fantastic. I think I need to go get him checked out because I think he's got an ear infection because he keeps rubbing his ear on things. But besides that, he's doing fantastic. He's a happy little pug. But I just like the way that was phrased. It was like, hey, how you doing? How's Fish? It was, hi, how is your dog? I appreciate it. That was very funny. All right, let's go ahead and mark out our ranges again since we deleted those. Let's see here. Boom, boom. We'll say right here. So who knows how this goes? Let's check up on Litecoin. We've been looking at Litecoin for the past couple of weeks, talking about the capitulation and the possible chance for finding a double bottom and perhaps starting to form a inverse head and shoulders. That would be absolutely excellent. If that does happen, that will be our first try at breaking out above this macro diagonal. If you know what I'm talking about, here you go. Last couple local highs and the all-time high all lead up to this massive capitulation. If anything, it will end around February. to late December. But this could be the try to go ahead and break that diagonal resistance. We've already broken our macro downtrend on Bitcoin, so who's to say that Litecoin won't follow? We talked about what my plan in particular might be if we go ahead and do that. Me personally, I'm going to be waiting for a break of the diagonal, as well as that to get above this first horizontal. So I'm looking to insert most of my capital around $70. I've already inserted a little bit because Litecoin's always a little bit of a sure bet just from last... if what I'm really hoping for is there's not a whole lot of leeway. Hopefully, just like on the previous breakout, which looked the same exact as this, we had this massive run up. Hopefully, we do the same thing because I just want a coin that I can put some money in and it just takes off and I can just, breathe a sigh of relief that it's not going to go dumping all to hell on me anytime soon. So, yeah, that's when it comes to Litecoin. Litecoin's looking spectacular when it comes to that massive capitulation. That's just an easy play, if anything. That's one of the coins where you should not miss out on. It's so simple, dead in your face. If you see it break above the macro downtrend, get some Litecoin. All right, just get some Litecoin. What was the other coin that looks similar? XMR looks similar to ETH when it comes to this. We are going back down and retesting the previous local high over here, which is the horizontal of our macro double bottom. If we can hold the 115, 116, 117, somewhere in that region, obviously we can always get a wick past that a little bit. If we can hold that region, there is a good chance that we continue this macro double bottom. The next area that we'll be looking to retest is this flip-flop box. You can see a double rejection right here and then a bounce right here. That would be anywhere from 165 to about 145, where I'd be looking for a little bit more of a rejection. Hopefully, we do continue to take this step by step, and instead of just acting like a box resistance and then coming back down, hopefully we do get above 144, go up to test 165, come back down, and get a double bottom off of 144. That way we can continue past that. Once we're past 165, there's not a whole lot of leeway. We do have one more resistance, anywhere between 200 to 187. But past that, it's pretty much a straight shot all the way up to 290. So I'm very, very excited about that. You guys know my standpoint on Monero. A lot of regulation is trying to hit it, but I don't think they're going to be very, very successful. And obviously with the darknet markets and a lot of criminal organizations moving to Monero because of the privacy that it does offer, I have to follow the money. It's the same thing that happened with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin came out, it was usually used by criminals, and that's how it's got its reputation. But as well as that, even when they talked about it only being used by criminals, it just pumped Bitcoin. That's why back a couple months ago when we had that Twitter scandal where everybody's Twitter account got hacked, I said that was good. I said it was good for Bitcoin. I said publicity never does anything bad for Bitcoin. It's a simple fact of getting it above in people's faces. And if you kind of look at the numbers that happened with that Twitter scandal, they really didn't get a whole lot of money. Now, I know there's going to be somebody out there that says $400,000 stolen from people. The audience that they reached that day could have produced much more. But luckily, they only got away with a small amount. But in doing so, they kind of just put Bitcoin's name out there. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Bitcoin was trending for the first time in forever. For the first time in forever, Bitcoin is trending. Yes, please. I'm in the UK and it would be good to see you more often, Kite. Peruvian Gold, thank you very much, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to doing it. I just want to make sure that the numbers are good and my mental state's good just to do that every single day, because that kind of does take a toll, kind of taking an hour every single day. And it's just a little piece of you is chipped away when you can't make it to a live stream. And then it kind of just compiles up and up and up, and it leads to these long-term, escapades where I'm not here. So I just don't want to put myself in that situation again. That's why we're just doing the Monday, Wednesday, Friday for right now. Kite, can you just buy Market Cipher 100 worth a bit? I want to see 15K. I personally don't want to see 15K. I want more time to play these ranges. I talked about how we might only have a good couple trades left, and I want to make sure that there's as many of those as possible. You just have to say to yourself, do you want a little bit of money, or do you want to make a whole lot of money? I just want to make a whole lot of money. Because for me, I got big plans. I got to get a whole bunch of stuff set up. I got to choose a place to lay down the foundation. But Hopefully this next bull market gives me enough money to set my family up with a nice little place. Radosh, hey, what's up? Almost missed you. How you doing, Radosh? We talked about your question from Telegram earlier. I saw you typing in there, is it time to take a break, how long, whatever it might be. I talked about this early in the live stream, but for me personally, I'm kind of on standby. I know it doesn't probably make a whole lot of sense just from a normal person's standpoint. We have broken the range, between this previous rejection and this rejection here. But for me, with the two previous ranges doing the same exact thing, rejection, break out above range, come back into the range. Rejection, break out of the range, come back into the range. I just don't want to make the same mistake this time. And if I can, I just want to continuously jump the gun trying to get that long trade that's eventually not going to work. And like I said, either way, if we do happen to continue up, our next major resistance is going to be around the $15,000 mark. There is a little bit of a resistance at 14,500 to 14,600. That could be what we kind of get our tap off of and then come back down in the range. Who knows? I'm just kind of looking for, what's going to happen. What the heck vape is that? If you're making fun of me because I'm using a disposable, my roommate does that all the time. He works at a vape shop. I used to have the big mods and stuff, but they're a little bit too clunky for me to take everywhere. My personal opinion is that these little disposables have a little bit better flavor, even though they don't last as long. It's just my personal preference. Obviously, it's a little bit more expensive because you have to buy like a $15 disposable every like 5 days. But besides that, I like it. But this is a hide if you actually want another brand. Anybody out there getting the new graphics cards from NVIDIA or AMD? I've got my eye. I'm trying to let AMD see what they come out with because apparently they do have a card. I think it's the 6900X or something that is supposedly on par and even beats out the 3090 in some cases. I know NVIDIA's response is that they're going to be releasing a 3070 Ti and a 3080 Ti. I don't know, man. I'm probably looking for, early next year, probably around January or February, to go ahead and pick up one of those cards. But I think it's going to be pretty cool because you guys know me, I'm a gamer. Obviously, it helps with live streams to put out better quality as well. But besides that, I'll be able to play 4K, 144 hertz. That's something that has never been done before. I mean, you can in some cases, but not on any major titles. Not making fun, never seen it. Thanks you, man. I'm so conditioned from my roommate that whenever I bring this out, he's like, "You're a loser. You're not a real vapor." I'm like, what does that even mean? What does a real vapor even mean? A nice doji candle on the 4-hour. Let's see how that turns out. Yeah, man. It's too up in the air right now. If anything, this would be the previous candle. I think somebody in our Telegram yesterday talked about this being a bullishly engulfing candle. From what I understand, a bullishly engulfing candle is where the average body tops out the wick as well, not just the previous average body. So if this candle does close and it's closing in 10 minutes, that would actually be a bullishly engulfing candle from this previous red wick. So would you not counter trade that situation? It's too early to tell. I don't want to get caught and enter short up here above this, smaller range that has formed over the past couple of days. So I have to wait for it to come back into the range. I have a feeling that it's going to do so, but I can't make that judgment call right now. Not for myself and certainly not for you guys. I don't want to put you guys in a situation where you guys are going to lose money because I jumped the gun. So obviously, if you want to look at it from this standpoint, we're still holding this diagonal, so anything can go. But we were doing the same exact thing back here. It was the same sort of kind of setup. Diagonal. Retest, bounce off the diagonal, bounce out of the range, come back down. Probably some people thought it was still going to hold, and it broke through, got rejected, and continued on downwards. So maybe that's the same situation. Retest, break out of the range, come back down, get stuck, break down. All right, guys, I think we're going to start wrapping things up. We've been streaming for about 15 minutes. We covered Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, XMR. Didn't talk about Digibyte. Digibyte's probably still sitting in an ascending wedge. We'll see how it's doing, though. Descending wedge, my bad. Yeah, it's starting to collect support off of this descending wedge. So, I mean, it might be a good time to pick some up if you are looking to pick up Digibyte. Nice little horizontal double bottom forming as well off the 1.889 cent mark. So we'll see how that goes. But there's still quite a bit of time for this to continue. We can always get rejected again and fall even lower. There's still so much time. So I don't know. It's, you know, it could be a good DCA point, but I don't know. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot stick yet. Probably when we break this diagonal and this horizontal here, if I am ever looking to pick up Digibyte, that might be the case. But even when we do break that horizontal, I mean, it's a 66% gain. Obviously, who can tell after it breaks the all-time high, but just from a support and resistance standpoint, compared to some of the altcoins and what we could see on those, I don't know. I might pick some up because who knows how far it will go past if it does go past this previous price point here. Take one more look at the election. It's still sitting at 264, 214. I think Biden's got this because if he does take, I mean, Nevada's still up for grabs. It's, you know, only 8,000 votes away, 75% reporting, so still 25% left to be had. Let's see if, okay, let's do the math on this. All right, so Trump has 214. If he can take 20, 15, and 16, 20, 15, 16, as well as Nevada, which is 6, that would put him at 271. So the only chance Trump has at winning right now is if he takes Nevada, and it's pretty dang close. All right, it's pretty dang close as well by, you know, a good 100,000 votes here and 100,000 votes there. But that's already 94, 97% reported. There's still a 25% left over here, so we'll see. Which way did Nevada vote in 2016? Nevada voted blue. All right, and that was by a 2% spread, so we'll see. Like I said, that's the only chance he has to win it, though, because otherwise he doesn't have a chance. Oh, is Alaska still in there? I thought Alaska got called. Oh, Alaska hasn't been called. I just missed it down in the bottom left. Wait, could that be a tie then? Hold on. Bring out the calculator again. Let's see. All right, so let's say he's got 214. He gets 20, gets 15, gets 16, and then he gets what, 3? That only still puts him at 268. Comparative to his 270. Unless I'm getting my math wrong somewhere. Because I have a feeling that he's going to win Pennsylvania. Not by much once the mail-in votes come. Because it's only 88% reporting, but he does have, what, a 4% spread? That's a little bit... I don't deny that they can't close the gap, but we'll see. Wish Obama could come back, Mr. King. I think Obama's swagger was pretty cool. I just don't support a lot of the decisions he made. Hey, Kite, nice to see you. Sorry I'm late. Did you already look at Link, XTZ, and LTC? We looked at Link, we looked at LTC. We did not look at XTZ. We'll do that right before we head out, just for you, man. So the bottom that we marked out a couple days ago, which is the bottom that we're trying to retest. So if you're looking at this as a ascending triangle that broke out to the upside, we hit the target. Now we're coming back down to retest the resistance and try to turn it into support. That's what we're currently doing. So you want to see this $1.79 region hold. If it doesn't, that's not great for Bitcoin. As well as that, you know, you could have a little bit of a diagonal head and shoulders here that could be forming on the macros. 90-minute has a clear divergence with a double top. That could mean an easy rejection to 13,800. Would just confirm the breakout. Would be nice as well. You said 90-minute. That would be, let's see. Go back to BTC. BTC USD. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Potential for a double top on the RSI. I was looking at the 2-hour, and we're still holding below this diagonal of bearish convergence. So that could be a potential with a bullish divergence turning into bearish convergence and tricking people and catching them off guard. Is that the same thing that happened over here? Kinda. Not really. Actually, yeah, because we still had a bearish divergence here, although not by much. Bullish convergence turned into bearish divergence, forced down. So we'll see. Like I said, that's my reasoning for why I'm being a little bit cautious. You know, either way, I have to wait for us to get back into the range in order for me to take a short. And I personally just don't want to take a long. I'm just not feeling it. Although simple rules do stand that you should be in a long right now, considering that you broke a previous range on the 2-hour. But with those two things telling me that it could happen the same way, just don't want it. Are your wicks turned off? Yes. I like to look at averages. That's my personal preference. I think it makes charts look cleaner, and it takes a little bit stress off. Because even with wicks turned on, like back here, you would have marked this out just like this. Even with wicks turned on, it wouldn't have been that bad. Just my personal preference. Makes it a little bit easier to do support and resistance. Thank you, Kite. You're the bomb, Digatron. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let's see. Bad for XTZ. I don't think so. Like I said, it's perfectly natural for us to come back down and retest that horizontal resistance and try to make it into a new support. It just makes a whole lot of sense. I don't think it's bad for XTZ whatsoever. The only thing that could be seen as bad is that we're below this little bit of a macro trend here. But this could also be used as like a shift fork, and maybe there's an underlying diagonal here and a diagonal here. No problem, Radosh. I'll see you later. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in the live stream. I appreciate it very, very much. As always, in the description, there is the Patreon if you guys want to join the Telegram or hit me up for lessons. My Discord is also linked down there. As well as that, if you guys want to join the Bybit affiliate link, that helps me do giveaways for the future. As well as that, you just kind of support the channel. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. As always, trade safe. Don't get caught in stupid situations. Just make it simple on yourself. That's all you got to do. There's not a whole lot to do. And despite who you voted for, hopefully this is going to be a great 4 years. Hopefully we get out of all the debacles that we're in recently with COVID and all this other stuff. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. No, like you said, going below that horizontal would be bad for Bitcoin, but I think you meant XTZ. Yeah, my bad. If I did say Bitcoin, I meant XTZ. Peruvian Gold, thank you very much, man. I'll try to get those Tuesday and Thursdays set up sometime soon. That way you can tune in a little bit earlier. So you don't have to do it before bedtime or late in the night. But I do appreciate you showing up either way, man. I appreciate it. Same as Smith. Thanks a lot, Kite. Have a good night, buddy. You too as well, man. You too. Crazy Kangaroo, cheers, bud. Peace out, buddy. Good stream. Thank you for the insight. See you in the next one. John, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. You show up every single time. All you guys that show up every single live stream, it just blows my mind. I really do appreciate it. All right, guys. Thank you, Kite. Take it easy, man. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it, man. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you on Friday. Now, I'm not making any promises because I do actually have to maybe leave a little bit earlier to go down to Richmond for my sister's because I'm having my birthday party at my sister's. It's November 8th, so I don't know if I actually will be on Friday. If anything, the stream might be a little bit early. So if I'm leaving around 4 o'clock, I might stream at 2. That is considering if I woke up early enough. but I will try. So if you don't see me, I do apologize. It's not that I'm trying to skip out. It's just the way things are lining up. So either way, I appreciate you guys very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, guys. Let's go ahead and click the end screen, buddy.
Hoping that you will